Welcome to the 80s and 90s Uncensored, your Valhalla of nostalgia. I'm Milo Dennison.
And I'm Jamie Fenderson. And today, get ready to blast off to the 80s. Joining us today is Corey Feldman, a true icon of that decade and a familiar face to movie fans everywhere. Corey recently starred in a brand new film called Going Viral, a sci-fi adventure comedy that's a nod to 1980s film culture. In the movie, Corey plays a character called Samurai, who helps the teen protagonists battle an AI kidnapper in a virtual world. Corey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I have to tell you, Corey, so I think it was your publicist, they sent a link to the private viewing of your new movie. And so we made a huge night of it. So we got the room all dark, and we got the popcorn machine out, and we got the root beers in the frosty mugs, and we made a whole night out of Going Viral. So
how did it go?
It went great because
did you feel viral while you were going viral?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's good. I'm glad. I mean, hopefully you didn't pick up any viruses while going viral. You know, I mean, I think if you put it in a whole different context, going viral is a really scary thing. You know, people are so excited to go viral these days. And yet, if you really think about what that means, it means you're leaving yourself open to all sorts of terrible things. So,
well, which works in both ways, too.
Like,
our term of going viral versus going viral, both actually can be bad, too, actually. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you can get viruses on either side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you are getting viruses. That's actually the meaning of the word, is you are getting a virus that's taking over your entire system.
Yep.
If we want to be specific, but forget all that. Let's keep it within the context of it's good.
It's good.
Everybody wants to go viral. Just ask COVID. All right, go ahead.
What I love about the movie is it's got a lot of cool like tropes that we had back in the 80s that just made kind of movies fun. Like the kid's a nerd, but he takes off his glasses and he's a dreamboat, or he's got an amusing friend, or he's trying to get the girl with his popularity, but actually he's got a friend who's the girl that he should totally be with.
Right. And the average 80s movie plot when things were so simple and basic, right?
Yeah.
And if you had a nemesis, you didn't just like fight with him or talk with him. You had to have some go have some skills, right? You had to like have a skateboard contest, like in Going Viral, like, oh, we'll settle this at the skate park, bro. That's
right. Exactly. Or in these days, I guess you would settle the score by having a follower off or a viewer off or whatever. Like, oh yeah, well, you just wait and see when my next video gets 1,000 likes. Oh yeah, good luck with that. You'll never get more than 300.
Oh,
that's
sad, yeah.
That's the day that we live in. That's the age we live in.
Not quite as
It's
exciting.
all about acceptance. It's all about acceptance. I know. Can you imagine, like, what if the movie was really based on like people competing to go viral? Okay, here we go. Watch this. I'm gonna upload my video now. Dun dun dun. Like if that was really all there was to the movies, people sitting behind their keyboards trying to like upload stuff. Oh yeah, I got you. Watch this. Click. Okay, so
that's why 80s movies were better, man.
Yeah.
Right. Totally. Which brings us to the fact that this new movie is out now, ladies and gentlemen, for you all to enjoy. It's called Going Viral, and it is obviously a throwback to the 80s. But you know what? It's good, clean family fun, just in time for the holidays. So everybody can sit at home and have their pie and eat their, vegetarian turkeys and
tweet about it or whatever.
That's
so
right.
They can also go viral.
Go viral with it.
Yeah,
that's right. You can actually film yourself watching the movie and see who gets more likes and follows while you're doing it.
There you go.
There you go.
I am curious about that, though, because you starred in so many 80s films that defined a lot of these tropes that they pay homage to in this film. Like, so kind of what does it mean to you to be part of a project that celebrates 80s cinema, knowing that you actually helped define a lot of this 80s cinema?
I gotta be honest, I don't go that deep with it, dude. You know,
No.
this is not at
You're
all.
just like, look,
Yeah.
they hired me to do the film. I'm doing the
It's a job.
film.
It's a job. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if I like a script and it's relatable to me and I think there's some heart in it, then I'll consider the job. I don't do movies that I don't connect to or believe in.
Hmm.
So therefore, if the script isn't good, if it doesn't have a storyline that's, interesting, captivating, if it, generally I try to stick to things that are family friendly these days. Every once in a while I do a horror film, but not really very often these days. I really more have been sticking to the family stuff, especially since I made my documentary. I've had a few interviewers say, "Oh, this is your first movie in several years," and I'm like, "No, it's not."
No.
In fact, we just put out The Birthday like last month, which was in theaters, and then ended up on Amazon at the end of the month. But obviously in 2020, I put out my big documentary film, My Truth. In 2021 or 22, as it were, we ended up putting out the big box set because obviously there was a little lag time with the whole coronavirus. But during COVID, I created the biggest project I've ever created, which was a 6 disc collection box set of 4 CDs and 2 DVDs, including a brand new documentary. So I put out a documentary in 2020, another documentary in 22, and then in between there on 21, there was a movie that came out called Teenage Girls First Wheels, which was another family film that I did, kind of a License to Drive spinoff, I guess you would say, where I played the dad, kind of showing that, hey, I've grown up. But so there was that movie in between, and then I've got a couple more that are on the way out actually as we speak. So it's been a very busy time, as much as people always think that I've just kind of given it all up and joined the circus and running around touring and doing the music and all of that. But I do it all. I do it all. From arena tours to independent films. I'm always working on something.
Well, I think independent films don't get as much press or publicity these days because you've got the tentpole, Marvel action films and that kind of stuff that's always in
Mm,
the news. And you hear a lot of people talking about, wow, there's no good films out there anymore. And it's like, yeah, there are. You just don't hear about them as much anymore.
right. Right.
Which is exactly what you're talking about. Like The Birthday, I watched that in preparation for our talk today. And, it's a great little independent film, and it's a very different performance from you that I think people would
Thanks.
expect, which is
Right.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Um,
Well, let's face it, that film was made in 2004 or 5, somewhere in there. And, it took 20 years to hit
wow.
theaters, 20 years. Now, when it first came out, we got all the accolades, awards, nominations, all that kind of stuff in Europe when it was released, but it never made it out to America. It played one festival in America, and then somehow it got shelved, even though it was this brilliant film. You had all these great directors from Quentin Tarantino to Oliver Stone to Richard Donner. Everybody hailed this film as like, oh, this is a great masterpiece or a great, piece of work. And then it just disappeared. Nobody heard anything of it. It just kind of went into Guillermo del Toro. I remember Guillermo del Toro calling me saying, dude, this is brilliant, like great work, incredible work. And then just never went anywhere, just disappeared. And we couldn't understand what happened. Obviously, the powers that be did not want me to have a success at that time. And we all know that if the movie would have come out, it would have been, one of those that probably received a lot of award nominations and stuff like that. And they didn't want that to happen.
Mm.
So it was shelved for a great 20 years. But the point is that I always believed in it and I always knew that it would find its way and it would have a second life. And I told that to the director, Eugenio Mera. I said, mark my words, at some point within the next 20 years, this movie will be in theaters. And sure enough, it was in theaters this Halloween, from Halloween all the way through the end of November at Alamo Drafthouse Theaters. And now it's on Amazon and eventually will be on Blu-ray. So we're very happy that that finally came out. But yes, that was done all the way back in 2005.
Oh,
I've
wow.
done
I
many,
didn't know
many,
that.
many films since then.
Oh, wow. Yeah. No, I didn't know that. That's cool. So
And if it wasn't for Jordan Peele, it might not have come out at all.
I saw
It
that.
was actually, yeah, it was actually Jordan Peele who came over to my house to watch it and said, "Man, this is a crime. It needs
Mhm.
to be out. Your fans need to see this film." So yes, The Birthday is a very important one. Watch Going Viral, watch The Birthday, plenty of new Corey Feldman work to watch over the holidays while you're sitting at home with the family.
It's out there. I'm
So
curious.
Corey, did you get to keep the samurai helmet? I gotta ask that.
And I didn't ask to keep the samurai helmet.
Oh,
Maybe I
you should
should
have,
have.
dude.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You should ask. You got to keep the samurai helmet.
I happen to be close personal friends with the producer Todd Pringle. You never know. Maybe he can throw me some love. But yeah, we'll see what happens. You never know. This could be the cult phenomenon smash hit of 2024, or maybe 25. But this will be the one that, hey man, did you see Going Viral? Everybody has seen that movie. It's incredible. It's like it's the new Squid Games. It's the new
There you go.
Squid
Yeah.
Games. Right, yeah, exactly. You never know.
Well, in the movie, you were the kid's mysterious mentor, right? With the master skills, Mysterioso. And they're like, oh, it's samurai.
Right.
He's the guy, and they all had everybody had samurai pictures. So it's like that trope of the mysterious mentor, right? We found him. Yeah, you were the mysterious mentor.
Yeah.
I'm curious, so this movie is a total love letter to 80s cinema. Why do you think people look so fondly on the 80s compared to other eras? I don't think people look as fondly upon the 70s, for example, as compared to when they look back at the 80s.
Right.
What's your take on that?
Well, we were just watching a movie last night, and it was like, man, that was a great movie. What a great movie. Yeah, they just don't make movies like that anymore, unfortunately. And they don't. And that's the problem, is even a movie that's not supposed to be some incredible movie, it's supposed to be just, an average movie, a Christmas movie, even something like Christmas Vacation, which is just, it's silly, it's whatever. But John Hughes still wrote the script. So even though, it's thought of as kind of one of the cheesier or cornier films from the series, it's a good movie. Because at the end of the day, it's got heart, it's got a moral, it's got a message to it. It makes you laugh, and it's like you watch a movie like that and you think, back in the old days, a movie like that, was just kind of blown off. But you think about how it stood the test of time, and it's become a classic. And even though it's not the greatest movie, but it's still a classic. Then we watched another. I'm trying to remember what the movie we watched after that. But the point is, we've been watching a series of movies, Christmas movies, but from the 80s and the 90s, and all these movies have just a certain kind of heart. And when the movie ends, you go, man, I miss movies like that. I miss seeing movies that actually have substance to them.
I think heart is the right word there, actually, because you watch a lot of stuff now, and it seems like they make the Christmas movie for the sake of making the Christmas movie in the hopes that people will watch it, like it, whatever. But it does seem to be missing a lot of that heart that a lot of those have.
Yeah, you know what? My favorite. Milo. We watched last night. We watched my favorite Christmas movie, and you know what that is? I'll give you one guess.
A Christmas Story.
Die Hard.
No, if you know anything about me and my history, what would my favorite Christmas movie be? Come on, guys.
Gremlins.
No, well, that's closer. At least you're in the vein.
Gremlins totally happened at Christmas.
Well, it did, and that is a good Christmas movie, by the way, which Friday I do highly 13th. Recommend. Definitely not Christmas. No, man, it's my dear friend Richard Donner created the greatest Christmas movie ever made, which was Scrooged.
Oh, good call.
Yeah. I mean, agreed. It is a at the time, a modern day twist on A Christmas Carol, the classic, but Bill even Murray. Today it holds up. It holds up by far. Bill Murray's greatest performance. I think even I will go as far as saying Richard Donner's greatest film as a whole. I mean, we all love The Omen. We all love Superman. We all love Goonies. Lethal Weapon. I mean, did so many great films, but I mean, something about Scrooge that's just perfect. It is a perfect movie. So anyway, sorry.
No, I totally agree. Though I got to go Goonies. I saw that when
but it just says Santa Claus isn't even in
it's
Goonies.
Not a Christmas movie, but it's such a fantastic movie.
But you watch it at Christmas because you just want to watch a good
I just watch it
Good movie at
anytime, man.
Christmas,
Like,
right?
yeah. My mother made
Yeah.
me read, they did a book, a Goonies book that went out at the same time as the movie, and my mother made me read the book before I could go see the movie in theaters. And
Oh,
so,
that's
like,
funny.
I never read a book faster in my life just so I could go see that
Yeah. My
movie.
mother made me read the script before I saw the movie in theaters. So
But here's the thing.
It's-
I think going viral has heart. I That's when I was watching it with my son, even
did your
he was
son
like,
like it?
yeah, we had a good time with it. And
How old is
that's
your
what I
son?
miss. He's 17.
There you go.
Dang.
Perfect
Yeah, it's
target
like
audience. Perfect
and
target
it's got
audience.
he's a
He can
teenager,
relate.
right? And he's so I was calling out all of the, hey, that's a Rubik's Cube. Hey, that's the Goonies poster, right? And I'm calling that out. And I think he was just amused by the fact that I was calling out all the 80s references because I'm just digging it, right?
Right.
But then
The
the
Pac-Man light. I like the
yeah, the
Pac-Man light.
Pac-Man light. But
Yeah.
then even the 80s movies tropes were, and it was just fun. Movies were fun, and this is an homage to the
Right.
80s movies in general, and we just dug it, man. So hey, thanks for giving us a good time.
Well, good. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it, and I'm glad that it's been getting such a positive, favorable response. A lot of the reviews have been pretty decent on it,
Yeah.
and it seems like everybody I've talked to today. I've been doing this press junket all day, talking to a bunch of different podcasts and radio shows, and it seems everybody really is favorable. A lot
Yeah.
of people enjoy the movie. So hey, who am I to poo-poo on it? I think it's I think it's great that people are enjoying it, and and the music itself, of course, I contributed to that too. So I've got
Of
a couple
course. Yeah,
songs in
I
the
saw that in the
soundtrack
credits.
there. So yeah,
Yeah.
I ain't mad at it.
Can I ask one more question before we go?
Sure.
You've been kind of promoting movies again ever since the 80s, and I'm curious on your take. Like, just this is just a general question about like from back in the day, it was like podcast, or so it was like doing talk shows and stuff like that, and now
Right.
it's shows like this, podcast and YouTube channels. Like, what's your take on that change in the environment of like movie promotion? It's probably
Well,
kind of
it's
nice because you can do it from home now.
I'll tell you what. Well, yeah, there's that. I'll tell you what it is. It's basically everything. Everything has changed. Everything develops. Everything,
Always does.
through history. That's just our lease in life as humans. We continue to develop and to progress. And look, in the old days, you weren't actually promoting a movie. You weren't taken seriously if you weren't on the five major talk shows on the three major networks. Like if you weren't on ABC, NBC, CBS, and eventually Fox and WB, but if you weren't on any of those networks and you weren't doing one of their major talk shows, you didn't exist. You didn't exist. If you tried to do independent publicity to, let's say AM talk radio or, even radio shows, morning shows, nobody cared. Nobody took you seriously. You
Yeah.
were just another voice in the wind. But nowadays, this type of a show is equivalent to doing those radio shows, that were on, just testicular radio, terrestrial radio, but these shows now are taken a lot more seriously because they take the place. People aren't listening to terrestrial radio anymore. Nobody's got
Oh,
AM radio stations playing in their their little work box like they did in the old days in the garage. Nowadays, people have on a podcast. They stream podcasts. That is what's happening. That is where we're at. So everything changes with the times. And the point is, these days there's so many more opportunities, like the theme of the movie itself going viral, where kids now have the ability to load something onto the internet and make them internet famous, right? And it's not just internet famous because let's face it, now people are building real careers off that internet fame. I mean, the studios are literally looking for influencers to build movies and TV shows around.
yeah.
That's where we're at. So the kids have taken that into their own hands. They've gone from just being behind a keyboard, watching people like me who make movies talk about their movies, to becoming the people that are making their own moves by influencing the world, by making little videos, building their followers, building their channels, and creating their own audiences. And now the studios have to look at them and go, hey, they know what they're doing. Let's get them on board. Think about that for a minute. That's a complete change, right? So the same thing with the media. We used to have to go to the big talk shows to get our message out, or we weren't going to be taken seriously. Now you spend 2 whole days doing podcasts like this because you do enough of those podcasts, and it's going to equal the same amount of listeners, the same amount of viewers as doing one of those talk shows in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, that's just where we're at.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Good way to talk about it, though. Okay, so we know we're at time here. Do you have speaking of social media? Do you have any social media or anything coming up that you want to call out
Of
before we
course.
go?
Well, I don't know about coming up. I mean, I've got this movie, going
Right?
viral. It's out now. The Birthday just came out last month, and I got 2 more movies on the way. One's called The 3-2 Pull Down, and another one called Sour Party. I believe all of those movies will be out before the end of 2025. And working on my plans for 2025. We're looking at our world tour. We're still trying to put together a world tour, trying to put together possibly who knows, maybe a farewell tour for the US. I don't know. All sorts of things in the mix at the moment. But right now I know that we've got this movie that just came out for Christmas and 2 more on the way. So I've been very, very busy
Right.
thinking about possibly doing another album for this year. There's just so many possibilities. So I'm busy, but you can follow me on social media at Corey_Feldman on X, at CDog with a DOGG 22, CDog 22 on Instagram. And I don't really use Facebook. Does anybody use Facebook anymore?
I don't think people use
I feel
Facebook
like
much anymore.
Yeah,
but,
it's pretty passe. But yeah, I don't do the TikTok. I'm not on the talk.
All right.
And nor will anybody else be in a week if Trump doesn't come in and save TikTok.
Yeah,
But we'll see what
see
happens.
how
I
that
guess I
goes.
should say if Elon Musk doesn't come in and save TikTok, because we all realize at this point that Elon's the one calling the shots. So anyway,
Well, maybe they can
Different
just use
subject there.
those
Yeah,
Game
right?
Boy devices and going viral to follow you. You know what I'm saying?
There you
That's
go.
it. That's it. Yeah, if they had them, I think everybody would be using them.
Yeah.
So maybe there you go. Hey, Todd, there's a bit of licensing for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and create those actual units and send them out because we have the ability to do it. This could be the beginning of an enterprise. 5 years from now, Going Viral Part 3 comes out, and they're like, yes, we're upgrading the tech to suit the movie. Don't worry. Everybody will be able to upload from your seats in the theater. I mean, that's where we're getting. So, let's see what
We'll
happens.
buy it.
Give
We'll
it
buy
time.
it.
Totally.
There you go.
Or the
There
kids
you go.
will.
Thanks
There
for
you
hanging
go.
out with us, Corey.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Corey.
Milo.
Again, we're
Thanks,
huge
Jamie. God
fans.
bless you guys.
Yep,
Have an incredible
absolutely.
weekend and an incredible holiday, and love Going Viral. God bless. Peace and
You
love.
too. Thank you very
All
much,
right.
Corey. We really
Bye,
appreciate
guys.
it.
Happy holidays. Bye-bye.
You too. So, what do you think are the biggest 1980s movie tropes, that stand out in your mind, besides what we've already talked about?
So I have them listed.
Yeah.
And for this movie in particular, though.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Because I was thinking stuff like was he beyond this movie, like the power ballad, right, or the montage. And this movie kind of had a bit of a montage in it, but
It did have a montage. It
Jeez,
totally
could've-
did.
Yeah. He
So
had
it
two
did
short
have-
montages in a
It
way.
had some montage. But it did. It had the kid as the nerd, but the glasses come off and he's a dreamboat. The kid has an amusing, humorous male friend. The kid is trying to be popular so he can get the hot girl he wants, but his quote unquote friend was there the whole time, but she's also hot. And then there's also the kid. The kid has a foil who's kind of equal with him, a rival. And the only way to settle things is through a cool skill or sport. Like, you can't just fight or talk. You got to go to the skate park. I will settle this at the karate battle, right?
On the
or something
ski
like
slopes.
yeah, on the ski slopes or something like this, right? We'll settle this.
Yeah.
And then the kid finds a mysterious mentor or master with special skills. In this case, it's Samurai, who Corey plays. We're gonna go to his apartment. Like, he's hard to find. We found him, and he's gonna come help
And
us.
then at first he doesn't want to help.
Yeah.
But then he changes, and then he shows up at the last minute to help.
Yeah,
there's that.
And then a training montage, of course.
Yeah.
Gotta have a montage.
Montage. I've got one that's not on your list. The bitchy sister. The bitchy older sister that that's cool. The popular bitchy older sister.
Yeah, she's cool. You're a nerd, and I'm
Mhm.
so awesome. I don't even get why we're related.
Yep. That one. Yeah.
But here's the thing about these 80s movie tropes is they are tropes. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know if they were tropes back then, though. They were just how movies were made.
Yeah, that was
Like
just the
that's
story. That's the way they worked, right? Like Pretty in or the Breakfast Club, right? Every person in that film is a trope. Each of the characters are a trope.
but now it's you look back and it's like it's you can analyze the hell out of it like we're doing now. But
Mhm.
back then it was like, well, that's just how movies are.
Yeah.
But what I like about when you do the trope in modern movies is it's always almost an homage. Like, yeah, we're doing this trope. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. We know you get it. We get it.
We
Boy,
yeah,
this is for you, Gen
yeah,
X.
yeah. And you're making the money now, so there you go, a little fan service.
Yep. It's true. Because it seems like when they throw tropes like this in movies now and it's not intentional or it's not, a little wink wink to the audience, it doesn't work and it
Mm,
irritates me. Because
mm,
then I'm like,
mm,
this is just a stupid trope that they're copying because they can't be creative enough. Or,
mm.
like when it's not in there for that purpose, it kind of bothers me. And I'm like, oh, come on. Really? Do we really need this trope? And with that, audience, we are out of here to go challenge our high school nemesis to a skate off at the skate park.